Hey guys, MentalReach here. Doesn't the idea of taking a vacation on a beach, working 4 hours a week, or having all the time in the world seem like a lifestyle that you'd like to have? Of course it is. Who wouldn't want a lifestyle like that? And that's the type of book we have this week. The 4-Hour Workweek is about creating an infrastructure that you can work with that makes you work 4 hours a week and use time to serve you instead of the other way around. To better explain what I mean by this, you don't have to quit your job, be a risk taker, young, or single. You don't even have to be born rich or graduate from an Ivy League school. The point is, anyone can do it. Becoming rich comes from time and mobility, as well as money. You see, people don't want to be millionaires, they want to experience what they think millions of dollars could buy them. And this book is about having a lifestyle of complete freedom while actually having $1 million, but instead using the currencies of time and mobility. Tim Ferriss, who's the guy who wrote this book, clarifies that you probably won't be able to replicate every little thing that he recommends in his book, but you can use the same principles to get the same results. Instead of passively accepting things for the way that they are, you want to be the doer instead. And those main points that he goes over in his book is structure that spells out the acronym DEAL. Now step 1 is D for definition. Tim explains about the new rich by stating what it isn't. Like if you assume spending your life working to buy things you don't need while hating your own job is normal, it isn't. It's like the rich guy who could spend $1 million a night at Vegas but didn't even like his own business. Tim sees being financially rich and living like a millionaire as two totally different things. Why? Because what we want isn't really money, but the power to do what we want with our lives. Which is why retirement is a horrible idea to embrace. The whole concept of retirement is that you work at a job that you most likely hate for 30 to 40 years until you finally have enough money to live off it. But to be honest, saving enough money to live above poverty is impossible for most people. And even if you do make it, do you really want to sit around and do nothing for the rest of your life after you reach retirement age? You'll probably want to get another job or do something to keep yourself busy. So why wait all those years? Money alone isn't the solution we need, and yet we often assume it is, deluding ourselves into thinking that we need more money and waste time trying to become rich and yet get more problems because of that. What Tim goes over in his book is that relative income is more important than absolute income. And to better explain what Tim means, relative income is a measure of both time and money. For example, the person working 10 hours a week and only making $10,000 a month is going to be richer than the person working 80 hours a week and making $100,000 a month. How? Because although the man may only receive $10,000, he's only spending 10 hours out of the 168 hours there are every week doing his job. They give some time to be with friends, family, or basically live his life. And yes, I know that the other guy is making $100,000 a month, but his life constantly consists of going to work, driving home just to eat and sleep, and then return back to work to start all over again. Sure, making a lot of money is awesome, but not when you never have the time to spend that money. And I'm not sure about you, but counting your days away until your next vacation isn't what I would call a happy life. And jobs that suck the life out of you just takes the fun out of living altogether. Now step 2 is going to be E for elimination. Now that we know that working 80 hours a week isn't what you want to do, you have to free that time without losing any money. And most people usually mess this up with their time management skills by trying to fill every moment with productivity. But constant motion isn't productivity. It's the items you work on that matters most, ranging from your biggest ones down to the very microscopic items on your list. And Tim introduces the Pareto Principle, which states that 80% of our results come from 20% of our actions. For example, Tim realized that 5 of his customers were bringing in 95% of his revenue, and 2 of those 5 customers were horrible because they constantly complained and gave him trouble every day. So Tim, rather than putting any effort into the other 3 customers who were already good, he confronted the 2 problem customers. One left as the other shaped up. Tim then focused all his efforts into finding customers like the top 3 who were always good with him, and by a month he actually doubled his income and cut his working hours from 80 to 15 because he was no longer dealing with those problem customers anymore. And the Pareto Principle can be used in your life in regards on the way you spend your time every day. When you're working on something every hour,
how many minutes are you actually spending on that project? Because let's say you wanted to write a book in 1 hour, but every 5 minutes you kept checking your phone, your email, or the internet to see what was happening on Facebook. And in that 1 hour you were supposed to write that book, you probably spent most of your time more concerned about anything else in the world. And these type of time wasters are what cause 80% of our problems today. And time wasters are things like unimportant emails, phone calls, and please avoid the internet if possible. And don't let anyone distract you because that'll just ruin your train of thought. Put your phone on silent if you have to and let it go to voicemail. And just spend the entire hour solely working on the project you're working on, and you'll realize you'll save yourself a lot of time in the future because all your time and energy will be invested into making something great. Now the next step is A for automation. A key part of becoming a member of the new rich is to build a system to place yourself in. And an easy way to begin doing that is to hire a VA, otherwise known as a virtual assistant. This means hiring someone in a low-cost geographical location who can save you time by taking care of the small tasks for you. It might cost you $11 to $15 an hour for a VA to take care of those personal errands, but it gets rid of all the small errands that would take up 80% of your time throughout the day. But only delegate the small errands on your plate so you can focus on the big items that requires more focus and more of your time throughout the day. And make sure each task you assign a VA is both time consuming and well defined. Otherwise, you'll only be wasting your time. The biggest objection people have is the expense, but consider what your time is actually worth. If you could pay $40 each week to have Friday off, wouldn't you do it? And paying $40 for a VA that saves you 8 hours of work throughout each week is practically the same thing. Now that you made some room in your schedule, it's time to find your business, which Tim defines as a product-based business that costs less than $500 to test, and after a month's time, will require less than 1 day per week to manage. Now step 1 is to pick an affordably reachable niche market. This means finding a market first by defining your customers and then design your products around them. It becomes much easier if you're a member of that target market yourself. Now step 2 is going to be the brainstorm products and their benefits should be explainable in one sentence. Your product should sell between $50 to $200, which is the best area to sell at because it's not too expensive that people will be too scared to buy at, but not too cheap for them to be suspicious about or take for granted. Remember, expensive items only make customers more cautionary towards them, and they'll want to speak to you and ask every little question they can before buying it. Now this isn't a formula for a good business, rather an idea to follow when looking to sell a product that sells itself, which is why Tim recommends that you create your own products instead of reselling somebody else's. And the easiest type of products to create is the information product because it's low cost, fast to manufacture, and time consuming for competitors to duplicate. Now if you read the top 3 books on any given subject, you'll actually know more about that subject than 80% of the population, thus qualifying you as an expert. So simply take a general idea of a subject and summarize it in a way that's specific to the type of niche market you want to sell to. For example, let's say you want to be a real estate agent and realize that you like to have a simple but good looking website to promote your services. This means you have to read the top 3 selling books based on home designs and create videos, ebooks, and guides that communicate the key points as they relate to what people want when they're buying a home. And the person with the highest credibility will actually sell most, not the person who actually knows most about the subject. And the last step is L for liberation. Tim attacks what he calls one of the biggest self-deceptions of the modern age, which is extended world travel as the domain of the super rich. People work their whole lives, hoping to save enough money to retire to a tropical beach house one day. The really ambitious seek out high-stress, high-paying careers in law, finances, or whatever. Tell themselves that if they work non-stop for 25 years, they can have enough money to finally buy their retirement vacation. But what's funny is that Tim actually spent less than $3,000 for the common deferred dreams that people often have, such as living large in Thailand, sailing across the Caribbean, and taking trips to China. He also paid $250 for 5 days on a private tropical island with 3 local fishermen who caught and cooked all his food and took him to the best hidden spots in Panama. And basically, Tim wants to take the usual 20 to 30 years of retirement and spread it throughout our lives in 1 to 6 month increments. Now the intention isn't to create a vacation to escape from your life, but a lifestyle of reoccurring vacations where you experience the world as opposed to just seeing it when you're old. This reality may seem strange to you, but it's not just geniuses who could pull this off. Tim has met people from every walk of life who has done the same. A luxury penthouse in certain countries will get you maids and personal security guards that'll cost you less than $550, including utilities, which is about the same price you'll pay for just a rundown apartment in some bad part of the US. And no, Tim isn't saying that the only way to live a wonderful lifestyle is by living in another country where it's cheaper, hire VAs to do your job, or even quit the job you have now. Tim's main message is to just make you think of the possible options that's given to you, rather than just believing the typical beliefs that most people grew up with. What's actually important is knowing that time is your most valuable asset, not money. Time allows you to follow your dreams, spend time with those important to you, and actually do things that matters to you in life. And that's the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed. If you have any books you'd like to see in the future, be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. And as they say in tropical beaches, sayonara like a horror? That doesn't make sense either.